The sun comes up, the light turns on, and the natural world erupts into a new day. Animals wake in burrows, colonies, and branches to sing the sun's praises and launch into their daily chores. In Australia, every day is a fight for survival, as creatures found nowhere else on Earth search for food, fight for dominance, raise their families, and try to avoid some of the deadliest predators in the world. All the daily dramas of their lives unfold in the hours from dawn to dusk. 6:15. Dawn breaks on the first day of spring in Australia. It's sun up in Sundown National Park. And some Aussie icons are up bright and early. In fact, they haven't been to bed yet. A mob of eastern grey kangaroos grazes in the grasslands while the morning air is still cool. The alpha male is busy keeping his eye on potential mates, while a couple of young bucks try to prove themselves, and the mothers care for their young. This pastoral gathering has a purpose. Life in the mob provides extra security from predators, which means this mother can focus her attention on some much-needed spring cleaning. Her pouch started as a nursery, but 9 months on, it's more like a teenager's bedroom. It's a convenient place for her daughter to crash and watch what the adults are up to. Hopping again. Why are they always hopping? Clearly, it's a skill she's going to have to master to be like the grown-ups. One day, she too will leap 8 meters in a single bound. Jump almost 2 meters high. And reach speeds of up to 64 kilometers per hour. But she's a way off from that. Better get in some practice before the day gets too hot. Off to work on that hopping thing. See you later, Mum. It comes pretty naturally. And it sure is fun. She's almost impossible to supervise. Frankly, it's exhausting just to watch. When she pops home for a refreshing gulp of milk, Mum signals playtime's over. She shows her daughter the pouch. But Junior has other ideas. Australia's largest bird of prey has also noticed the commotion. Bagging a joey is well within the wedge-tailed eagle's abilities. Suddenly, the rebellious teenager is not feeling quite so adventuresome. She hightails it back to the safety of her bedroom. Australia's an island so big, it made the cut to be a continent. Tasmania, the little island off its southern coast, is about the size of Ireland. It's barely 7 a.m. And while the day is just beginning for many, it's well and truly ending for one very weary wombat. Nocturnal by nature, he's had a busy night foraging. Now he stumbles home to his burrow, only to find some young upstart has taken it over. And the squatter has no respect for seniority. He knows when he's beaten and drags his tired bones off to find another burrow. Good thing he has several of them. Bed at last. Oh, not again. He might feel entitled, but the fact is, wombats have overlapping territories and a limited sense of ownership. So when it comes to finding a bunk, it's first come, first served. Still, he'd better find an empty one soon, because the day's warming up. And he can't sweat to regulate his body temperature. Once the mercury passes 25 degrees, he's in trouble. Maybe this one's available. Only one way to find out. Third time's the charm. At last, a guy can get some shut-eye. Back on the mainland, another Aussie icon should be sleeping too. It's what koalas do, up to 22 hours a day. But this morning, one mother and her baby are wide awake. Mum's got big plans today. Her daughter's first climbing practice. She demonstrates some advanced techniques. Her daughter will spend 98% of her life in the treetops. So learning to climb is essential. Mum finds the ideal branch for today's lesson, something suitable for a beginner. More than 30 meters high. And then, off come the training wheels. She's going to have to figure it out on her own. Eventually, separation anxiety wins out over fear of heights. But the little one's first mistake could easily become her last. She's a natural. But that's more than enough for one day. She's taken her first steps towards independence. But until she can climb confidently, she'll remain dependent on Mum. Confidence is something the supreme lyrebird has in spades. It's barely 10 a.m. and this cocky fella is building himself a stage. He's got a spring in his step. 'Cause spring is breeding time. But if he's going to pull any birds around here, they're going to want to see him bend over and shake his tail feather. As far as he's concerned, he's got the moves. But his audience seems more interested in the concession stand than in what's happening on stage. So he goes full tilt, adding a musical number to his routine. A gifted mimic, he throws in every sound he can remember. He can do the kookaburra, the blackbird, and the cockatoo. And from the sound of it, R2-D2. It's a crazy medley, but it seems to be working. He's got her attention. So he throws in even more notes. He pulls out all the stops. Because, in theory, the more complex his melody, the more irresistible he is. Food? Or a bit of cock-a-doodle-doo? Food. After all that effort. The first day of spring adds a little bounce to everyone's step. In Sundown National Park, male eastern greys are keeping an eye out for females, keen for a fling. This strapping young buck's got his eye on the little Joey's mother. She's become receptive, and if he sticks close, perhaps he'll get lucky before lunch. Better remind the girls what a stud he is. Standing tall and scratching nonchalantly, he does his best to look cool in front of the ladies. He even tries a direct approach. But it's all bravado. He's only just reached sexual maturity, and his attempts at wooing are as awkward as a teenage crush. He follows them around, clucking. The kangaroo version of a pickup line. But they're not interested in a fumbling adolescent. They've only got eyes for this guy. The alpha. He's larger, extra buff, and experienced. But the young buck's not ready to take on the mob heartthrob yet. Instead, he challenges one of his peers, preparing for the day he'll be ready to take on the alpha. This one's more his size. It's not exactly a heavyweight bout, but their claws are sharp and can do real damage. He searches for an opening, circling his opponent like a boxer in the ring. Neither wants to lose face in front of the girls. So, it's on. And it's not a clean fight. But with one well-timed kick, the young buck seals his victory. For now, all he's won are bragging rights. But next year, the alpha had better watch out. Morning in northern Queensland is no less dramatic. But you have to look a little harder to see it. For this female St. Andrew's cross spider, rebuilding her web is the first chore of the day. Once that's out of the way, she's set for a day of meal deliveries. At any given moment in Australia, 10,000 types of spider are trying to kill something. And one has its eyes, all 8 of them, on the cross spider. The Portia spider is a spider-hunting spider. She's less than half the size of her intended victim, but bigger isn't always better. What she lacks in brawn, she makes up for in processing power and superior senses. She stalks her quarry patiently, using trial and error to figure out the best approach. She may even remember from previous hunts that cross spiders have poor eyesight. Her brain is only the size of a sesame seed, but among spiders, she's a genius. She gets herself into a prime attack position. Finally, the cross spider wakes up to the danger and deploys countermeasures. Her wild trampolining creates a targeting problem for the Portia. But she stops too soon. The hunter seizes the opening. Acute vision helps her to calculate the distance, timing, and angle of her jump. Fast-acting venom does the rest. By noon, it's too hot for many creatures. And it's time to escape the sun. Even on the first day of spring, the red center simmers at 30 degrees. But there's one group of Aussies who bask in this heat. The country boasts more reptiles than anywhere else on Earth. After a morning's sunbathing, some of these cold-blooded creatures are ready for lunch. A jagged collection of spikes and pikes heads out into the open without fear. Not many predators can swallow a thorny devil, if they can even see through its desert camouflage. Scary as it looks, this devil eats nothing but ants. All it needs to do is find their trail, hover unobtrusively, and pick off an occasional victim. No one will miss this one. Or this one. Or 1,000 more. But ants won't cut it for Australia's biggest land reptile. A perentie, the outback's lizard king. At over 2.5 meters long, he's a big guy with a big appetite. But out here, square meals are few and far between. Satisfying his hunger is going to be a challenge. He finds a few snack-sized bites. But his hunger is bigger than that. It's kangaroo-sized. He's brought down young kangaroos before. But can he take a fully grown one? Maybe that one, with the baby on board. That could slow her down and give him the edge he needs. Speed is his secret weapon. One of the world's fastest reptiles, he sprints at 40 kilometers per hour. Not far shy of the kangaroo's top speed. But he doesn't have the endurance. The warm-blooded mammal has him outclassed. Not all is lost. He can taste death on the air. This one won't be running away. It's not quite as fresh, but he's not about to pass up a free lunch. He's got his kangaroo. That's all that matters. In Cape Otway, spring fever reaches fever pitch. Testosterone levels are as high as the noonday sun. Male koalas bellow their whereabouts to potential mates. They yearn so loudly that they can be heard several kilometers away. Females will come to investigate eventually. But this young guy's too impatient to wait. His eyesight's not great, but he has a fine nose for the ladies. This urine trail smells distinctly like someone is ready to mate. He wastes no time. He won't be her only gentleman caller. But in his haste, he makes a bad mistake. He trespasses into the territory of a larger male, who's not about to let some little twerp weasel his way into his patch. With nowhere to go, and his pursuer hot on his heels, he's trapped. But the larger male seems to sense the branch isn't strong enough to hold them both. This is a conundrum. The little upstart is ripe for a beating. But then again, that branch could break. And nobody wins. It's not worth it. There's a fertile female nearby. That's what's important. He leaves his young rival with a stern talking to. And heads off in search of his potential mate, leaving the upstart with a bruised ego, but with his desire to mate very much alive. It's 2 p.m, and the lyrebird is still singing and dancing his heart out. He's finally got a female to pay attention to his performance. But he's also attracted a rival song and dance man. And the itinerant performer clearly wants to upstage him. For the female, this show just got a whole lot more interesting. She's got two contenders trying to outsing and outdance each other for her viewing pleasure. Enough is enough. The original male decides it's time to make his rival exit. Stage left. But when he returns after the intermission, his audience is gone. Rather than catching a show, most are just out for dinner. In which case, it's better to lose the flash and blend in. Australia has over 140 species of snake hiding in plain sight. And more than half of them armed with toxic venom. This one lives up to its name. The death adder. He's a lethal ambush hunter. Camouflaged beneath the leaf litter, he makes himself almost invisible. Now, it's a waiting game. Several dusks and dawns could pass before a meal strolls by. But today, luck is on his side. A mouse is foraging, unaware it's walking into a trap. The death adder has one of the fastest strikes. In 1/7 of a second, it's all over. He waits for his meal to die before he swallows. It doesn't take long. That will hold him for another week. As the afternoon begins to cool down, the grey roo mob returns to the grasslands to graze. Mum thinks it's time to wash her baby before bed. But all her daughter wants to do is that hopping thing again. In a couple of months, she'll outgrow her pouch and move out for good, freeing up the nursery for a new baby. Her mum's already receptive and could conceive before her daughter is ready to leave. With both the young buck and the alpha checking her out, it's a real possibility. Luckily for Junior, her mum can pause her pregnancy for up to 11 months. So for now, the only thing the little Joey needs to worry about is hopping. In Cape Otway, finding a mate is a more pressing issue. After this morning's run-in with a larger territorial male, the young koala needed to regroup. So he spent the rest of the day doing what koalas do best: eating, sleeping, eating, sleeping, and eating. Finally, he's ready to continue his search for a mate. He catches the seductive scent of another female. It's the mother with the novice climber. He can barely contain his excitement. Normally, he's slow-moving. But with the right motivation, he can really cover some ground. When he gets closer, he loudly declares his intentions. But she's not interested. She already has a baby to care for. She's not looking to add a man-child. But the young male doesn't seem to have gotten the message. He just won't let up. And his frisky antics spook her daughter. Hardly the way to a woman's heart. She gives him a final, unequivocal no. And he resorts to throwing a tantrum. But now the sulking male is blocking the path to her baby. And he's not budging. The little koala plucks up her courage. It's time to put this morning's climbing lesson into practice. But there's no easy way to get by the male. She's desperate for the warmth and comfort of her mother. But the only way to her is over him. It's a dangerous move. He could throw her off at any moment. Reunited at last. Now to shake Mr. Desperate. After all the drama, there's only one thing left to do. Sleep. Across the water in Tasmania, the day is just beginning for a very different marsupial. An hour before dusk, a young Tasmanian devil wakes up, craving meat. He's recently separated from his mother and is still getting used to looking for his own meals. He starts searching for something small to begin with. He's in luck. A lizard. The reptile dives for cover, but this little devil has sharp claws, perfect for digging. It's a good start. But it's only an appetizer. He's going to need something more substantial to satisfy his appetite. There's an unfamiliar scent on the air. It's an echidna. A curious egg-laying mammal, one of the monotremes. A very exclusive club with only 5 members. It would make a decent meal for the young devil. But it's a real prickle of a problem. While he tries to figure a way past the echidna's formidable suit of armor, Another hungry devil wants to have a go at solving this spiky puzzle. Neither one can work out how to eat this difficult dish. But they do know one thing. Whatever it is, they don't want to share it. The young devil sees the newcomer off and returns to claim his prize, only to find his meal has made a getaway. Maybe it's for the best. It's almost dusk, and back in the grasslands, the eager young buck is checking out the little Joey's mother again. But the alpha is not having any of it. If anyone's going to mate with her, it will be him. Time to put the kibosh on the young buck's aspirations. His menacing presence is enough to make the youngster submit. Just to be sure everyone's clear who's in charge, he spreads his scent on everything in sight, including, unintentionally, his intended. Not his best work. The alpha rarely needs to fight. But today, he's got a challenger. Another male looking to take his place, who's brazenly scratching and posturing right in front of him. An insult which he can't ignore. But the challenger's no match for him, and he swiftly puts him in his place. Still got it. Maybe that will make up for his little mishap with the female. Only one way to find out. She accepts his advances. And he makes the most of the opportunity. But then she seems to have second thoughts. He tries again, but she's done. It's not ideal, but with a bit of luck, he's done enough to make sure the next Joey is his. As the first day of spring draws to a close, in the Roper River, one deadly predator is preparing for dusk. This freshwater crocodile has spent his days sunbathing. He's fully charged and looking for dinner. He's not the only one getting ready for the sun to set. High in the canopy, a colony of fruit bats is waking up. As they take to the air, the croc watches from below with hungry eyes. But a bat seems like an impossible choice of meal for the wingless reptile. It would be, if it wasn't for one thing. It's been a long, hot day, and the fruit bats are thirsty. Skimming over the surface of the river, they collect water on their fur to lick off back at the roost. That opens a window of opportunity for a split second. But catching one in flight isn't a sure bet. It requires expert timing, an explosive burst of speed, and a little luck. His success rate is anything but good. But with hundreds of chances, it doesn't have to be. It's only a matter of time. The flying buffet doesn't last long. As darkness falls, the surviving fruit bats head into the night. In Tasmania, the young devil is still searching for his main course. A demonic ruckus catches his attention. It's the sound of a feeding frenzy. His fellow devils have hit the jackpot. They're scavenging loners most of the time, but a whole wallaby carcass is too much for one to defend. The young devil hangs back. Taking on a lone rival is one thing, but this lot are another story. These gatherings are notoriously violent affairs. He's late to dinner, and they haven't exactly saved him a seat. Devil dining etiquette requires him to wait till one of them has finished. Or until two of them leave the table fighting. And he's in. Within an hour, there's nothing left of the wallaby. And the young devil has had his fill. He'll continue to hunt through the night. The sun comes up, the light turns on, and the natural world erupts into a new day. Animals wake in burrows, colonies, and branches to sing the sun's praises and launch into their daily chores. Off Africa, on the island of Madagascar, lemurs and chameleons, large and minute, face extreme commutes, head off neighborhood disputes, and survive frightening pursuits. In the hours From dawn to dusk. In the early hours of a November morning, a lemur stirs. She's waking up, but not from a good night's sleep. In fact, she's nocturnal. This tiny primate is rousing from 6 months of hibernation. Not that winter in tropical Madagascar is particularly cold, but almost no rain falls here in the Perentie forest for half the year. So this fat-tailed dwarf lemur sleeps off the dry season, when the nectar and fruit she eats are in short supply. She's the world's only hibernating primate. Now revived, she gets right to stuffing her tiny face. Her diet goal, a plump rump in just 6 months. Her tail is where she stores the fat she'll need to make it through the next winter. So, eat up, little lemur. Sunrise reveals lemurs everywhere. They only live on Madagascar, and they make the most of every conceivable niche. Their monkey cousins never manage to reach the island, so lemurs have the run of the place. 400 kilometers of open sea separate their home from mainland Africa. A mountain range splits it in two. To the east lie lush rainforests. To the west, an arid rain shadow. Lemurs live on both sides of the divide. Some even live on top of it. But the exposed mountains of the Anya Reserve are cold at dawn. The ring-tailed lemur family that lives up here sunbathe before they do anything else. Even with their thick mountain-adapted fur, they need the sun's warmth to get going. Just like their cold-blooded neighbors. Ah, that's better. Next on the to-do list, breakfast. Here's where it gets a bit tricky. There are only a few scrappy leaves to eat up here, and ringtails rather enjoy insects and fruit. But to get a square meal around here, they need to relocate to the bottom of the mountain. It's one heck of a daily commute. But no one moves without the boss's say-so. In ringtail society, all females outrank the males. But there is one ringtail to rule them all. She's the alpha, the undisputed leader of this family. And she would like a morning drink before they go. Pools of rainwater collect on the impervious granite dome. She has no qualms about making her hungry family wait. In these mountains, what makes a good breakfast is a matter of perspective. while these baby lemurs are eager to try some fruit. A nearby harrier hawk chick is hoping to sample some baby lemur. The alpha leads her troop down the hill. Mother hawk launches her assault. They can't both be lucky. But it's hard to pick one target as the troop scatters in alarm. And the lemur mothers use the confusion to bring their vulnerable infants to the safety of the trees. With the males bringing up the rear. Mother hawk goes home with empty talons. Just a few more rock steps to negotiate, and the lemurs will be sitting pretty in a forest of fruit. Most of this family are expert rock climbers. But it is a learned skill. Slow learners don't last long around here. It's barely 9 a.m., but these mountain lemurs have had a full day already, as the alpha leads them to a fig in full fruit. There's enough food for everyone, and she magnanimously allows them all to forage as they please. A proper breakfast, at last. In the eastern rainforests, mornings are a rather more relaxed affair for another group of lemurs. At 9 a.m., this family is only just thinking of making a move. They're Indries, the biggest and most human-like lemur. With their expressive faces and almost no tail. But they're not really morning people. Living under the rainforest canopy, it takes a while before the sun's warming rays reach them. Also, they eat leaves, which in the forest aren't really all that far away. Their territory is small. Mum will lead them on a journey of no more than half a kilometer today. She's in charge of this little nuclear family. Herself and Dad, they're together till death do them part. They have 2 adolescent sons and a baby girl. Just 4 months old. Before they do anything else today, there's an important job to get out of the way. They must check in with the neighbors. Dad starts off the morning's round of singing with a throat-clearing roar. Then launches into the melody. Indries are great singers. And soon, the whole family joins in. except the baby, but she's watching and learning. The song is unique to this family. Soon enough, the neighbors respond. Injuries are experts at conflict avoidance. As long as each family knows where their neighbors are, they can steer clear of each other. Now, about those leaves. Well, what do you know? There's some right here. Perhaps this is the worst morning commute in Madagascar. The Ankarana Plateau at the northern tip is an ancient reef thrust up out of the ocean. Millennia of rain have carved its limestone into a sea of serrated ridges called Singhi. No one in their right mind crosses the Singhi. But then again, what predator is going to follow you across a cutlery drawer full of upturned knives? That's what this crowned lemur is thinking. Sure, there are a few drawbacks. Notably that getting food and water means crossing those serrated ridges herself. On the plus side, there are no other lemurs here. Crowned lemurs are the only ones that pull this off. She has thick leathery pads on her hands and feet to cope with the sharp rocks. Even so, care and skill are of the essence. It's even harder with a baby dangling from your belly. Older kids ride on top, learning the tricks of the trade by watching the adults. Plenty of time. There's still a long way to go. Parsons' chameleon, on the other hand, has no commute to speak of. He pretty much works from home. The chameleon heavyweight champion has spent the morning warming up his 700-gram frame in the rainforests of Midday. Now he's ready for action, which in his case is fairly minimal. He rarely leaves this tree. Why bother? His main prey, insects, come to him. The trick is to get close enough on narrow branches. He needs to get within a couple of body lengths. His fused toes form clawed mittens. Which give him a vice-like grip. The other important trick is not to be seen himself. He's not only a predator, but also potential prey for snakes, or large birds. He keeps one eye out for lunch and one out for danger. They work completely independently. One eye spots a meal. That's enough for him to calculate its distance. He lines up his head for the strike. Slowly, don't want to spook lunch. The second eye locks on, and he confirms his range finding. His calculations are spot on. He shoots his long tongue out the right distance every time. He's living the good life. He's barely moved a meter all day and has no plans to move much further. By mid-morning, the Anya ringtails have moved on to a favorite source of fresh fruit at the base of their mountain hideout. China berries are an introduced species. The fruit can be lethal to humans. But these highly adaptable lemurs have taken to it with gusto. And apparently, no ill effects. Ringtails are more comfortable on the ground than any other lemur, which is where they find a windfall of sugary, overripe fruit. A big meal on a hot day equals nap time. Closing in on midday, it's too hot to do anything else. For the grown-ups. The kids, however, are like kids the world over. They find it hard to sit still for long. No matter how much their tired mothers might like them to. Fortunately, there are lots of competent grown-ups to help out. If Mum starts to lose the plot a little. The whole troop contributes something to the parenting. At last, Mum can take a little cat nap. The older kids won't breed for another couple of years. This is their time for figuring out the social niceties through play. It'll be a steep learning curve for the boys especially. Once they leave their mother's sides, they'll be at the bottom of the pecking order. These carefree times are precious, but short-lived. To the east of the mountains, in the coastal band of Rainforest, the family of Indries are at their busiest around midday. Now they've eaten the best leaves, it's time to move on. But the ground is lava, and they don't want to touch it. No need to. Indries can really move when they want to. They can leap 10-meter gaps in the canopy in a single bound. Today, the female wants to check out the trees at the other end of their territory. which they can cross in just a few minutes. Soon they're munching fresh young leaves in the canopy. Well, some of them are. Peaceful as this family is, like most lemur groups, it's still a matriarchy. The female decides who feeds where. She allows her still-growing adolescent sons into the canopy. But Dad must stay lower down where the leaves are not as juicy and nutritious. It's quite practical, really. He's not fast-growing, not providing milk for an infant, and he's not the one who has to carry the baby everywhere they go. Though at the moment, the little girl is keen to climb off Mum's back and try standing on her own 2 feet. As well as holding on with her own 2 hands. She's also experimenting with solid foods. Not bad, but she'll keep nursing for another half year while she memorizes nearly 80 kinds of edible plant. She'll also have to learn that leaves take a lot of digesting, and that a midday nap is good for that. High noon reveals another reason to avoid the Ankarana Plateau. The sun beats down on the parched limestone. The crowned lemurs have taken cover in what little shade there is. The rocks are heating up like a stovetop. They need to get out of here and find a source of water. A dash across one last knife edge of limestone. Finally leads them to a deep canyon with forest and water. Refuge from the relentless sun, at last. Water and tectonic forces combine to cut these deep chasms into the limestone. And hidden onto the rock, massive cave systems. Sculpted by subterranean rivers. Dawn and dusk lose their meaning underground. But roosting bats know what time it is. It's time to stay safe and cool indoors. Generations have worn hollows in the ceiling and dumped piles of guano on the floor, attracting small critters that love to eat it. And those who love to eat them. The floor writhes with scorpions. And worse. This is one of the only places in the world where crocodiles live in caves. As yet, we know very little about their lives. It's a steady 25 degrees inside. The reptiles seem to prefer that to the brutal heat beyond the cave. But unless every drop of water outside dries up, the crowned lemurs aren't fool enough to take up spelunking, no matter how hot it gets. Midday is especially hard in the dry forests of the island's desiccated west coast. This early in the season, the rains here are unreliable. Daily life revolves around strategic waterholes, where everyone comes to slake their thirst or look for a snack. Grey-headed lovebirds sip from the water's edge, counting on those at the back of the queue to keep an eye out for danger. There's always a hawk looking for an easy meal. A crested drongo plays it safe, grabbing a drink on the wing. The local brown lemurs are as wary as they are thirsty. Waterholes are the classic hunting spot for apex predators. Madagascar's top cat isn't a cat, nor is he an overgrown mongoose, though they share a common ancestor. But that was 20 million years ago. He's a fossa, unique to this island, and free from any competitors. More than half his diet is lemur. But he won't catch them while they're on high alert. He's just here for a drink, like everybody else. It's far too hot for hunting now, anyway. Perhaps a late lemur lunch today. Further south, the rain shadow is at its most severe. This landscape goes by the uninviting name of spiny forest. The octopus trees have made new leaves, which they guard with vicious spines. This is what passes for a time of plenty around here. It's enough to make some feel frisky. The spider tortoise has been searching for a mate. But by midday, he's racing his own body clock. The sand is too hot, even for cold-blooded reptiles. He hightails it to a meager patch of shade to avoid fatal overheating. A pair of Sakalava weaver birds at least have a little breeze up in the trees. This male has donned his breeding plumage and is busily fixing up a nest. The rains here are so short-lived and unpredictable, there's no time to waste, despite the midday heat. His partner provides some creature comforts to line their home. Most of the colony's nests are still empty, however. This early nesting pair are gambling that the season will deliver rain soon and that insects will be plentiful when their eggs hatch. But it's not looking much like rain out here today. Things are different on the other side of the mountain. A revitalizing afternoon shower is on its way. Warm, wet air, blowing in from over the sea, drops its water on the eastern side. It only lasts a little while, but today's rainfall is just the latest in a dependable pattern that will continue for months to come. The lush, dense rainforests are testament to that. These salubrious conditions are why 60% of Madagascar's wildlife lives here, including the smallest. In the rainforest, nothing goes to waste. The forest floor is the domain of nature's recyclers. But there are tiny hunters here too. Fully functional mini chameleons. Life can be a bit of a struggle when you're in danger of being run over by a snail. That was almost a close call. It's off, stalking the uneven terrain using the prehensile tip of its tail as a walking stick. Food is plentiful down here. The brown leaf chameleon's cunning disguise keeps it safe from its own predators. As long as it stays in the leaf litter. Unlike most chameleons, it can't turn green. Up in the branches above, the big boys have a much fuller color palette at their disposal. This male panther chameleon makes no attempt at blending into the background. Chameleon colors are often about communicating a state of mind. And this one's seeing red. Another male has invaded his tree. There's a reason he shouts in colors. Chameleons are practically deaf. But it would be hard for the interloper to miss this signal. He reads it loud and clear. Going dark is chameleon speak for I surrender. For good measure, he cowers submissively. Normally, this is where these fights end. But the power seems to have gone to the big male's head. Striking the koalas is not enough for him. He wants to see the loser run. Run being a relative term. As the midday heat starts to taper off, many lemurs resume their foraging. The warm, wet forest is an ideal environment for giant bamboo. And because this is Madagascar, there's a lemur here exploiting it. Bamboo lemurs spend most of the day eating. Bamboo is not very nutritious, and it's pretty much the only thing they eat. This afternoon, they're snacking on the fresh growth that comes with the start of the rainy season. Those fresh shoots are the very bits the bamboo most wants to protect from foragers, which it does by loading them with enough cyanide to kill a lemur 12 times over. And yet, the bamboo lemurs stubbornly refuse to die. They'll just pee the cyanide out later. How they've outwitted the poison is a bona fide scientific mystery. But the lemurs are winning their evolutionary arms race with the bamboo. Back on the drier western side, the fossa feels much revived after his 3-hour siesta. He has no real circadian rhythm. He's simply active when he feels like it, day or night. But the brown lemurs he was contemplating for lunch are long gone. No problem. In Madagascar, lemurs are like buses. Another one will be along soon. A sifaka. The fossa is the only predator big enough to bring one down. Not that they're easy prey. The sifaka is agile and fast in the trees. But so is he. Fossas are expert arboreal hunters. Like the sifaka, he sports a tail nearly as long as his body for balance. But few creatures jump as well as a sifaka. With a 10-meter leap into a neighboring tree, the sifaka gives him the slip. Just have to wait for the next one. Might as well rest up. The Ungya ring-tailed lemurs have one last item to tick off before they head home for the evening. The alpha leads them to a muddy, rock-strewn field with little obvious appeal. This is what she's after. Rocky mineral licks to supplement their fruity diet. with a healthy side of mud. It may be an aid to digestion, or perhaps it helps to neutralize the toxins in their diet. It's certainly a popular condiment. When everyone has had their fill, the alpha rounds up her troops. It's time to start their long commute back up the mountain. She wants to be home, safe, before dusk. But the best laid plans crumble in the face of desert. Halfway up the mountain, one of her sisters has discovered a mistletoe cactus in full fruit. Cacti naturally belong in the Americas, with this rare exception. This is no introduced weed, but a genuine homegrown delicacy that generations of mountain lemurs have enjoyed. The females waste no time in showing the young ones the technique. It's more abseiling than rock climbing. This youngster is getting the hang of it already. That hit the spot. But now it really is time to head home. As the sun starts to sink lower in the sky, the temperature on the mountain quickly starts to drop. The family members find sheltered crags in which to hunker down for the coming night. Down below in the East Coast rainforests, one animal has been doing nothing but hunkering down. They're elusive recluses. Animals so cryptic you could look right at one and never know it. They're leaf-tailed geckos, and for now, they're keeping their heads down. That's what they've been doing all day. At 30 centimeters, they're not small lizards, yet they're almost invisible. They've matched their colors to the trees they rest on. Ragged, frilly skin further breaks up their outline. While they wait for dusk to go hunting. But this Phandrophila snake is on the prowl right now. And he's not just a visual hunter. This motionless gecko is a sitting duck. As the snake homes in on its scent. The gecko, though, has options. It's alert for danger. It could wave its tail as a distraction. It could suddenly rear up aggressively as the snake gets closer. But with a venomous predator like this, the best option might just be a hasty retreat. as the sun finally sets. It's the gecko's turn to hunt. Pupils fully dilated, its massive eyes see all in the darkened jungle. As long as they're kept clean. A caterpillar. Now who's the sitting duck? There's an even weirder presence haunting the rainforest at dusk. He's been called a tarsier, and a squirrel, and an evil spirit. None of these is accurate. DNA finally convinced scientists that he is yet another lemur. He's an aye-aye, the closest relative of the ancestral lemur that washed up on the island millions of years ago. With those massive ears, there's something of the bat about him too. He uses them to detect hidden prey. He does it by drumming. Tap, tap, tapping a branch. And listening to the sound it makes. Sounds hollow. That means there's something in there. Once he has a hole big enough, he reaches in with his long, bony middle finger and extracts his prize. A beetle grub. He'll travel 4 kilometers through the forest tonight, drumming up meals until first light, when he'll hand the island back over to his day shift cousins. Despite the hawks and the foosas, Madagascar's motley crew of leading lemurs and their chameleon co-stars will be ready to make the most of every opportunity. Every hour of the day, between dawn and dusk.